all present here. I'm Yuvashri, here to host today's program on my journey in electronics and research, organized by the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, St. Joseph Institute of Technology. On behalf of the department, I would like to extend my first and foremost gratitude to our chairman, Dr. B. Baba Manoharan sir, Managing Director, Mrs. S. Jessipriya ma'am, Director, Mr. B. Sashisekhar sir, and our respected principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran sir, for providing us this wonderful opportunity. On this pleasant day, I would like to welcome Ms. Charitra Sri Sandilkumar and Mr. Niroman Joe. I would like to thank both of you for accepting our invitation and being our guest of honor for this occasion. We are extremely delighted and grateful to have you both here. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to our head of the department, Dr. C. Nyanakausalya ma'am, staff and student affairs, and Dr. G. Rohini ma'am, lab affairs, for their endless support. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome the students gathered here for the session. It gives me immense joy to welcome you all to make this event a grand success. Now, I invite Ms. Anjana Krishnan from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering to give the citation about our speaker.
Thank you, Yuvashri. It's my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker for the day. Ms. Charitra Sri Senthil Kumar did her bachelor's degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering at St. Joseph's Institute of Technology and was part of the orientation team, English club, and the student placement team. Ms. Charitra did her master's in optics and photonics with specialization in biomedical photonics from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. Her research field includes light microscopy for biological applications. Her research work involves developing microscopy techniques that can see living cells that are as small as 10 nanometers and how a biological cell works and carries out tasks inside an organism. She was a former intern at Ludwig Maximilian University Munich and ICFO, the Institute of Photonic Sciences, Barcelona. Ms. Charitra's work on the title Design of Radio over Fiber Passive Optical Network for Wireless and Wireline Access has been published in the International Conference on Communication and Signal Processing in the year 2016. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anjana, for the wonderful citation. Now, before moving on to the session, a few instructions to the participants present here today. I request all the students to stay muted throughout the session. Kindly type your queries in the chat box and they will be answered by the speaker at the end of the session. A feedback link will be posted in the chat box at the end of the session. All the participants are requested to fill to receive a certificate. Now, I would like to turn on to the session.
Yes, Charitra, actually, you can start the session, Charitra.
Okay, ma'am. கடைசில லைட்டா வாய்ஸ் ஒரு மாதிரி
Yes, right.
Okay. Okay, so let me start presenting. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is visible. Yes, Charitra.
Okay. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So my name is Charitra, and I did my bachelor's in Electronics and Communication Engineering in the batch 2012 to 2016. After that, I went for my higher studies in Germany, and the interesting thing is I decided to switch to science, which I'll also tell you why later. But now you might think that switching from engineering to science is not a good idea, or why should we do it? But it actually turned out to be very advantageous for me as both an engineer and a scientist, and I will also tell you about that. Yeah, so let's get into the presentation now. So I bet all of you are attending this meeting from your phone or your laptop, so there is no phone or laptop without electronics and communication engineering. So every single day we come across electronics and communication, but we rarely realize the potential of this particular field. EC is one of the core courses in engineering, let's say, but I think it's the most important, at least in our current period. Let's talk about COVID and everything. Phone illama, laptop illama, I don't think any of us exists for a day. Books எல்லாம் காணாம போயிடுச்சு இப்போ. So EC is a very biggest part of engineering. So, and nanotechnology, without nanotechnology there is no laptop or phone or any kind of electronic devices, and without fiber internet we'll all be stuck with I don't know, 5 Mbps max speed. With fiber internet you can get like even 1 GB per second speed. So fiber internet is very important, and without ECE there is no fiber internet. And you might have Google Drive or cloud devices or Alexa or anything, and without Internet of Things none of that is possible. And robotics, like maybe we might not use robots. You might think we don't use robots every single day, but we actually do. Even our phone is a voice controlled machine, which means it's a voice controlled robot. And if you have like a robot vacuum cleaner, ipo adella பயங்கர trend போயிட்டு இருக்கு. So all these things will never be possible without electronics and communication engineering. But there are also other things which you might not think that ECE is what makes this, but ECE has a part in all this. And one of those fields is optics and photonics, especially photonics. You might not have heard about this word photonics. Optics now, I can talk about like lenses and all that, like how you work with different optical elements like lenses, telescopes, microscopes, everything is optics. But photonics now, what does it mean is you have light, right? You have light everywhere, but how do you use this light to suit your application, right? You have the most simple example I can give you is, I don't know, let's say a magnifying glass, right? You have light everywhere, but with this magnifying glass you focus it on one particular point and you can even create fire, right? So that is also an application of photonics. And you have a prism and it makes it splits light into 7 colors, and that's also an application of photonics. And the higher technological applications would be something like microscope, telescope, and there are so many things. Even a camera, everything is photonics, because you use the light, you manipulate the light, and then you do what you want to do with it, right? Yeah, so this is what I chose to do after my bachelor's, and ECA has played a major role in this, and I will show you how. And before that, I'd like to tell you about different ways how you can branch out after ECA. There are so many reasons why you would want to do this, because at this point of time, interdisciplinary sciences are very important. நீங்க ஒரே இதுல ஃபோக்கஸ்டா போயிட்டு இருக்கிறது, it's good until one point where it happens that you need some other information also. You just can't work with one single subject. Or a subject படிச்சு no one can do anything, right? You need other complementary knowledge for you to achieve anything. So this is also why it's important to branch out a little bit and not stay in your one circle or one box. And the things that you can do after finishing an EC degree is you can go into computer sciences, telecommunication. I've written everything here, you can just have a look. So that's also one thing that I would encourage our students to do better, because நம்ம engineering course பண்றப்போ we just concentrate on engineering, we don't branch out anywhere. I highly recommend, and I'm sure the college and our department will also recommend you to do that. Attend symposiums, visit different places, meet many people, find out what's going on everywhere. I didn't do this when I was in college, and that's why I'm telling you this is very important. And I realized this after I went for my higher studies, how important this is. And I don't want you to miss out. Right now with COVID, I know it's not possible, but it's good at least to attend talks, different webinars, different talks like this. You don't have to spend all your time in this. Just let it run on the background and just listen to it if you can. Definitely, it will help you a lot to know about what's happening in the company, especially because you're not able to go to college, meet everyone, go to symposiums or go to other seminars, right? So I think this is very important to do. So so to talk about me, I like I said, I decided to do photonics after ECE, and the reason I got this interest was in, I think in your seventh or eighth, sorry, sixth or seventh semester, I don't remember, you study optical fibers, right? We have that in our ECE curriculum, and I did that. And my final project was also in optical fibers, and that's when I really decided that I wanted to study more about optical fibers, because I found it like really fascinating. And we also in our college we had this course where we were taken to BSNL. I don't remember where in Chennai, but we went to their office and we were showed the BSNL fiber setups and everything, and it was very fascinating for me to see all the optical fibers, and I decided this is what I wanted to study. And this is actually why I applied to my university, even though I knew it was not ME or MTech, it was MSc. I decided I can go into sciences. I thought I should branch out a bit, and ECE actually ended up helping me a lot. I was afraid that I was an engineering student, how will I study sciences? Science is more fundamental, more theoretical, and I was scared. But then light is an electromagnetic wave, and I had all my foundation for electromagnetic waves from our electronics and communication engineering, where we study electromagnetic waves, transmission lines in fourth semester, fifth semester, I'm not sure. So that was very easy for me. And also we had also studied about lasers and optical fibers. I'm sure you studied about lasers in physics in your first or second semester, right? So all this is definitely going to help you when you decide to go out. Don't think I'm going to a new field, I have to learn everything from scratch. That's not the case. This degree will definitely like help you to go on further. And my whole master's was based on this one course, electromagnetic waves. So it's funny how much you actually study in your bachelor's and then you go to your master's. There's like, of course you go into details of it, and then you have this option of specializing, but this degree is going to come with you until the end. So also, be focused on your basics விட்டுறாதீங்க. Listen and learn is what I would say. And yeah, like I said, from when I transitioned from engineering to sciences, I was actually very advantageous in the sense labல வந்து எல்லாருமே science படிச்சவங்க இருப்பாங்க. But I had one more thing in my hand, which was an engineering degree. And this was one of the reasons sometimes I got more interview calls, because I had both of these degrees, right? And this is fantastic actually. Many of us think that you can't change your streams or anything, but that's not true. You can actually do it, and it will actually be very advantageous for you, especially if you want to go out of India, or even to stay in India. There is a lot of potential. I also encourage people to go into sciences more, because I think there is no engineering without science. There is no engineering without the fundamentals, right? So if you take hold of this engineering and then apply it in your sciences as well, you will definitely have a higher edge compared to your colleagues or other competitors. So I mean, this is just like an image that I just put so that it could be interesting. So the left side image that you see is this is how a microscope would look in a lab. I don't know if you guys are familiar with microscopes. Basically what it does is it magnifies anything. Even the COVID, the SARS virus image that you had, the round one with all the spikes, it is captured by a microscope. So everything that you see is not what it is. There is so much going on inside it. Even you have different cells inside you, and these cells are tiny, like very few micrometers in size, and that's what you see. This purple image is it's human cells, how it looks under a microscope, and the green things inside is the nucleus. So this is what a microscope can do, and this is what electronics and probably not the communication part, but the electronics part can do. You cannot do microscopy without electronics. So, and I would like to bring to your attention, like in this image, I don't know if you can see my pointer. Can you see my pointer, mouse pointer? Okay. Yeah, so this green line that you see here, right, in this optical fiber setup, optical table setup, that is the optical fiber which is carrying the light. And actually you should not be able to see this light going inside, but then nothing is 100% efficient. So this is the scattering of light which you see on the fiber, and hence it looks green. So they're using a green laser to use the microscope, right? So that's the optical fiber that you see. It's actually a bundle of fibers, not just a single fiber, because a single fiber is as thin as your hair, right? This is a bundle of fibers. So yeah, so so that's all about my degree. And now I would like to tell you about, so okay, if you want to do higher studies, how do you go about it, right? I will mainly focus on Germany, because that's what I have experience in. So the thing is, the reason I chose Germany over any other country is because education is free in Germany, and that is the case now in most of the universities. But now some universities are starting to introduce fees and everything, because they're also getting a lot of students. The reason they do this is they don't have much students. Most of the Germans, like 30% of the Germans only go to the higher studies. So the industries are always looking for people who have a master's degree or who's a graduate instead of an undergraduate. So there is a lot of possibility for jobs and anything that you want to do really in Europe. So so there's this website called DAAD. You can find this link here, or just Google DAAD. So that's where you can find all the official programs that's available in Germany. You can, of course, go to a consulting agency and get them to do this for you. But I highly recommend you doing this yourself, because you'll learn so much. You'll learn about all universities that are available and all courses that they provide you. You can look at the curriculum yourself, and then you can decide based on that, right? So you have this website where you can choose your course and language and whatever you want to do. So just take note of this link, or later if you want I can send you the link later or post it in chat, or you can contact me and I can show you. So just a small tidbit about my university. My university is called Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, and it's one of the top 9 universities in Germany, kind of like the IITs in India, you could say. And that's the thing, you have like these really amazing universities outside India as well, and it's not as hard to get inside them, you know what I mean? If you have to go to IIT, I knew that I will never be able to crack the JEE exam and go to IIT. But going inside these universities is not that hard, and actually they're ranked higher than IITs, and there is much more value for these degrees from these universities. So there is not much competition, and you can go there, and the experience is also great. So I highly recommend, and also you can branch out, go out of your comfort zone, go out of your home and your country, and learn so many new things, right? So yeah, so like I said, there was no tuition or college fees for me, but now my university has introduced fees, so now you might have to pay some fees. And on top of that, you also get scholarships if you are among the top 10% in the class. And there was also, the reason I applied here was there was also fiber optic specialization in the university, and also a biomedical specialization. Now the thing is, I think when you're, like I said, when you're doing a engineering degree, it's also good to do courses around it. Right, nowadays you have so many online courses and everything. You can learn coding, you can learn robotics, machine learning, ai uh, mm, AI programming, and even biomedical applications, all that. And that's going to really help you, I swear, after you finish your engineering. Unless you want to just go into IT, then you might not need it. But even then, it's good to, learn Python or anything. I'm sure our college will also conduct courses like Python, because we had it when we were studying. Final year we had Python workshops and everything, and that actually gives you a nice introduction, and it's good to continue further because they can provide you workshop only for 1 or 2 days or max 1 week. Right, after that it's your responsibility to learn. So yeah, and just to talk about the education system in Germany, you have two kinds of universities: technical and applied sciences. This is all really advanced. You don't need to know this right now unless you're already planning for higher studies. So the technical university is more fundamental, and the applied sciences is more for industry. Like, consider doing like a diploma here, and I don't know. I don't think we have an equivalent to technical university here, because everything in India is a technical university kind of. So here it's more like you learn more theory and you learn how to apply it. But in applied sciences, you actually go to the industry, learn there. You spend more time in the industry than in a college. So my degree was a technical degree. Because I always wanted to go into research, I knew what I wanted to do. I did not like the idea of going into an industry. So yeah, so you can choose these based on what you are interested, but it does not mean that if you go to a technical university you can't go for a job, or if you go for an applied sciences university you can't do a PhD. There's nothing like that. So you can do it. It's just easier with a technical degree or with an applied sciences degree. So, and this is just to show you what are the industries that you will find in Germany or in Europe, basically. I don't know if you are familiar. I'm sure you know Nikon, and I'm pretty sure you know Leica, maybe, or Zeiss or Thor Labs. These are all companies which are specialized in optics. They're the giants in optics. I don't know where you might have come across. Maybe when you go to the eye doctor, you might have seen some instrument from Zeiss or Olympus. I don't know if you paid attention. Maybe next time pay attention. See what kind of device they have, because everything is optics, right? Optics has a huge potential in the coming years. Because now you have TV which works on fiber, internet which works on fiber. That's a huge potential. Wireless is not as fast as fiber, and fiber delivers direct to your home. So yeah, so all this is what I wanted to convey, basically. And if you have to take one thing out of my presentation, is branch out, learn complementary stuff. Don't stick to just ECE will give you the basics, but you have to branch out. Try to read about it. You don't even have to study about it, just read. Watch some YouTube videos or anything, and it's going to be really interesting. And all the best for your degree. So now I think I'll pass it on to Niroman.
Yeah. Thank you, Charita. And good morning, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity.
Niroman, 1 minute. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yuvasri?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was truly wonderful. Now, Anjana will introduce our second speaker, Mr. Niroman.
I'm excited to introduce our second speaker for the day, Mr. Niroman Joe. He did his bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering at St. Joseph's Institute of Technology and was placed in CTS through campus placement. Mr. Niroman Joe did his master's in telecommunications engineering, specializing in wireless communications from the University of Maryland, USA. He was an intern at Federated Wireless, a company building a cloud-based wireless service provider. He has worked on automating network deployment and developed algorithms for CBRS. He joined Qualcomm in February 2021 as Modem Systems Test Engineer and is currently working in bringing up the 5G technology for various careers. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you to my request Niroman Joe to take over the
Kekula, actually.
Yes, it is audible. Yes, it is audible.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, thank you, ma'am, and thank you, everybody, for giving us this opportunity. Yeah, so like Charitra was talking about the opportunities that EC brings into the table. So you can kind of find an entirely different domain in which I'm working in, an entirely domain in which she had kind of mastered and specialized in. So like I think Yuvashri mentioned that I did my master's in USA. So before going into that, I did my undergrad in electronics and communication engineering in Andhra College. So that's when I kind of got the idea of like doing wireless communications for my higher studies. So there are a few topics that I would like to tell you about higher studies. I think she kind of mentioned everything about ECE and all the important topics. So let's just dive into how higher studies in USA is. Charitra, if you can take us to the next slide, please. Yeah, so like in Germany, education system in US is kind of similar, but it is there are some changes. So to put it into a nutshell, we have to give an exam called as GRE, and we have to prove our English proficiency in order to get into any college in US. So after that, just because like we are all ECE students, I have listed some of the courses in which are very famous in USA and which has huge potential for our career. So some of them are VLSI, signal processing, computer networks, and wireless communication, like I listed in there. So you might have been familiar with all these courses because in our undergrad is where we kind of get the basics for it. So that is what makes us decide like what should we specialize in our masters. So basically, like undergrad and EC will be your stepping stone for your success, and the completing a master's when you compare it with undergrad is pretty much easy because you for prolonged 2 years you just have to complete 10 courses. When you're done with your 10 courses, I think you'll be done with a master's degree, and by the time you finish it, I'm pretty sure you would be like one of the proficient engineer in the course that you take. So yeah, Charitra, next slide. So this is the college where I did my master's in, and it's called as the University of Maryland College Park. There are so many colleges in USA, so it's really difficult to kind of like come to a conclusion like which college we should go in. So I would suggest like it's based on one's personal choice on where to go. So the couple of factors that we should to take into consideration if we are planning to come to USA are one is like we have to make sure that it is a public school. So only in public schools we kind of get jobs like part-time jobs, which will be really helpful for us to during the course of study because education here is a little expensive compared to other countries. And other one is like the location in which your college is present. So, for example, I'm pretty sure people might have heard of these states in USA like California, New York, and all. So these are pretty famous states. But if you think if for an engineer does is there job opportunities in New York? It's absolutely zero. But if you ask me, like, are there job opportunities in California? There are like a hell lot of job opportunities. So we have to kind of be cautious in choosing the college based on the location and whether it's a public or a private school. So I've just given the link for my particular college. And another thing that I've just pointed, like I was not aware before coming here is, so whenever you're going for a master's degree, so undergrad is kind of totally different. But when you're going for a master's degree, it's basically you have to do everything on your own, from searching for a job to like finding which course do you want to study. Here, like no professor is going to guide you. So that's something that uh, which you will learn over the course of your master's degree. So always look out for job opportunities. There will be a particular website in any college that you kind of want to enter. So that's just an example of like a, the website in which they list out all the job opportunities. Yeah, so this is about my college, a short introduction. Yeah, Charitra, let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So, yeah, so my specialization is basically in telecommunications. In telecommunications, it's kind of a very broad spectrum, which kind of covers for optics comes under it, fiber optics comes under it, computer networks, wireless communications. A lot of things comes under it. So this is one of the hottest topic right now. I'm pretty sure you would have heard of this term 4G, 5G, and all. So everything for every single thing that comes under like the bigger umbrella of 5G, it starts just with digital signal processing and signal systems. So the basics that we learn in digital signal systems and signal systems, it's still helping me out on a regular day-to-day daily basis. For example, right now, let's say like I'm working for Qualcomm, and if I have to solve issues which on a daily basis in the real time world, and I have to answer the questions whether if it's it'll be a basic question like whether the channel is good or whether the channel is like being frequency selective or not. So which all these things I still remember we will learn in signals and systems and DSP, wireless communications and all those subjects. So any day, you reach any heights, always set your basics straight, and the basics are taught only in our undergrad. When you move up the ladder, like for example when you're doing masters, so there is a common assumption that people know these stuff already. So uh, I am yeah, it's like a lot of Indians, not just Indians, a lot of undergrads do this. We are not aware of the course weightage and the importance of the courses that we study. So we just prepare it overnight, and then we kind of end up in any, and like we kind of like clear the exams. So that's kind of one thing that I really regret even now, for the fact that if I had studied even better, it might be I would have been in a better place than this. So I think it's kind of difficult to kind of advise young students to do this, do that. But yeah, it's better to like realize right now rather than like regretting. I know like every professor in our college used to say this. We no none of us realizes it, but as a student, as a senior, I think if I can tell you like it is really important to learn these subjects from the basics. It is really important. Yeah. So Charitra, next slide. Yeah, so these are some of the companies which I wanted to point out. Yeah, these are all like famous companies which are everybody are aware of, right? So Geo, Apple, Qualcomm, Nokia, Samsung. So these are all like wireless giants. So these wireless giants, so no, apart from the project management and receptionist, every other engineer working there is going to be an electronics and communication engineer. So right now in Qualcomm, if you know VLSI, then you are getting in like the job right there, and then you will be like in 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 one of the top positions where you decide what is going to come out in the next chip or whatnot. And then the same goes with Apple, and then Samsung. Samsung is a giant player. So some of the job opportunities to dive into core is, so we can really learn about wireless communication. So when I mean wireless communication, there are like so many things. Uh, to start off, we should be familiar with the cellular technologies like 3G, 4G, and 5G. And like Charitra pointed out, in the back end, you can learn about like the fiber optics, which connects the entire background of it. So wireless is kind of the front face, so it gets all the appreciation. But so the fiber is what that does the work. So it's very important to know both of it. If you are, it's really difficult to like know both of it, but if you are preparing for yourself to know like both of it, then it's like a really great thing. So um other things like in while yeah, Python coding. So yeah, there is another misconception that only computer science students should learn coding. That's just old school. Nowadays coding is present everywhere in every field, and especially like we have a course called as data structures and algorithm. I think it's in our third semester. So every student who had prepared that particular course properly, I'm pretty sure your life is going to shine like anything. So coding is it's not a computer science job anymore. It's everybody's duty to learn coding because the world is moving so fast, and the opportunities that we get out of EC is like mind blowing. You would not believe, like, and the to be honest, like, from the industry. Any industry, like any person who's working in an industry would want to have like a lot of money by the end of the month, right? So this is kind of a very niche field where people uh, there are not a lot of people who are like experienced or like have the knowledge that the companies are looking for. So if you just open Naukri and then just search for jobs in wireless, there is a Qualcomm branch in Hyderabad, there is Geo, everything. There are going to be like a ton of jobs. They people continuously keep looking for jobs because there is a very big shortage in the technology, like not technology, like the proficiency in which people are. And I am not sure if you guys follow the news. So this has been the hottest topic in some of the industries that I'm working in. So it's called as the semiconductor shortage. Because of this, like a lot of car companies, especially like car companies, have stopped their production. So if there is something, there is a need, there is one need, that is like semiconductor chips is one of the biggest thing. And then people like industry giants like Intel, all of them, they are projecting that there is going to be semiconductor shortage till the year of 2025. So I believe like EC, diving into EC, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities, and it's pretty interesting to understand. So just imagine, like, we are in a world where you can talk to your friend over a mobile phone, and everything just conveys it through the air. So it's a pretty interesting stuff, right? And now, like, with Jeff Bezos going to the space and everything, I'm pretty sure like the world is going to move forward, and then a lot of things that wireless is going to help, and then the 5G is going to help bring in a lot of new jobs. And I've heard like Geo is doing a really good job, and right now it's in the developing phase of 5G. So once 5G comes in India, there is going to be like so much opportunities which you guys should never miss out. So I think that was our short little presentation. Charita, do we have anything more? Yeah, yeah, and one other important thing. This is like you guys might have been sleeping or doing whatever you want until now. Probably like we were just talking technical, boring stuff, but just pay attention to this. So there is a very important tool called as LinkedIn. Forget the fact that you will get a job outside of SJIT. So when you step outside SJIT, like our college, நம்ம காலேஜ்ல இருந்து வேலையை like நீங்க என்னைக்கு ஃபோர்த் இயர் முடிக்கிறீங்க, எப்போ பிளேஸ்மெண்ட்ஸ்லாம் முடியுதோ அன்னையில இருந்து யாருமே உங்களுக்கு வந்துட்டு இந்த மாதிரி இங்க வாங்க, உங்களுக்கு வந்துட்டு இன்னைக்கு வந்துட்டு இந்த கம்பெனி வருது அப்படி நோபடி இஸ் கோனா டெல் யூ, நோபடி இஸ் கோனா கைட் யூ, நோபடி இஸ் கோனா டெல் யூ எனிதிங். ஸோ அந்த அந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் எல்லாத்தையுமே வந்து ஒரு கம்பெனி வந்துட்டு it's gathering in the same in a single place. It's called as the LinkedIn. I don't know how many people are aware of it. So LinkedIn is an application where people network. And as you can see, like, I was not having a LinkedIn, and probably Charitra might have had because she has always been that smart kid in our college. So but this was too late for me. So LinkedIn is the place where you should communicate with the people, and let's just keep it as a task. Let's see. We have two LinkedIn profile. Let's see how many LinkedIn connections we get. It's exactly like Facebook. Instead of like putting memes and everything, and people like put the job roles that people are looking for, which industry is doing what, any industry related information that you guys want to gather. LinkedIn is the place to gather. So networking is also a very important fact. So yeah, COVID is happening and everything, but as so if you really want to do networking, there is like pandemic is definitely not going to stop you. Yeah, I think that's all we wanted to share. These is kind of, yeah, we this is kind of our experience. So if you people want to have like a question and answer session or anything, we would be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. That was amazing. Now let's move on to question and answer session. First question is, what are the scopes after completing bachelor's degree?
Okay, so it's not mandatory that you should complete your master's. After bachelor's itself, there is a lot of opportunity provided that you made good use of your bachelor's. So, for example, not clearing an exam and having a degree doesn't mean you're an engineer. So, being able to answer a particular question in an interview is and being able to solve real-time problems or understanding the basics is where you become a real engineer. So, after undergrad, every uh, every industry is looking for engineers. So when you do your masters, you get, this is, I'm talking just completely industry based. So when you do your masters, the uh, the pay scale increases, and uh, the competition level, you become you can easily kind of win in that competition, because it's a race, right? Who's getting the job first. So after undergrad, you can apply to any of the jobs, any of the companies that we had mentioned. And yeah, like I mentioned, like what I studied, wireless communications, the basics. I also did study in undergrad, just that I didn't put in a lot of effort. So all the jobs that are open for EC, any undergrad student can get into, provided that you are able to clear that interview. So yeah, I think Charitra can add a few points to it.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about this in a different perspective, like from the perspective of research and science. In bachelor's, I don't think anyone gets time to do projects, or we have mini project and we have a final project. And let's be honest, how many people do final project 1 to 100 by themselves? No one did. I had help. I had professors helping me, and there are people who even buy the projects from project centers, and it's not good. So but in masters, the thing is, there is so much opportunities to do, like go to the lab, see what's happening and what you do. I haven't been in industry, but you've had a lot of points from Niroman, so I will always stress about only this, so I hope you don't mind. Yeah, so the research is one main point. If you do your masters, you will have so much exposure. You can visit many places, many labs, and find out what's going on. And also after masters, you have an opportunity of doing PhD, or you can even go to the academic side, like all our professors and everyone, they have masters and they are doing their PhD. So this is one, teaching field is an amazing place to be. And yeah, I think that's the main thing for doing masters in the research side.
Thank you, speakers. Moving on to the next question. What kind of efforts is to be given to get placed in core companies?
So to talk, so okay, so it's a very broad question to answer. It depends on company to company. So let me just tell me, like maybe I can share my experience about how did I clear the interview, let's say in Qualcomm. So in general, what happens in a core company? So it's not like in an IT company. It's so one thing I just want to clear, like going into an IT company is no, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely a good thing, but it's just like it's someone's interest. If you want to work in an IT company, it's their choice. Core company is always a better option, considering that you have spent your 4 years of life in studying EC and everything. So yeah, coming diving back to the point of how I got into Qualcomm. So I had in total like 5 rounds. So the first round is going to be like someone from the company is going to give you a call, and then he's going to just have a conversation, make sure that everything that you've listed in your resume is right. So yeah, and come pointing that out, your resume is going to be the Bible for the people who are looking at you. So whatever you say in the resume, they're going to believe like this is he knows this stuff. So they'll start asking you questions on that. And then like there were four other technical rounds, and then always there is going to be one HR round. So when I mean like technical, since I was in the wireless communication field, and if you people get a chance to look at my LinkedIn, I've shared my resume there. So what I've mentioned is I've mentioned about the cellular technologies like 4G, 5G, the intricate details of like DSP signals and systems. And I'm not sure if people like in undergrad these kind of things, OFDM technologies, how the signal is being processed. So that's the base of signals and systems. So all of these things I've listed out. So they're going to ask you basic questions like let's say I'm transmitting a signal from one end to the other end. So this is one of the questions. So at the I think like people might you might be familiar with the modulation techniques, right? So let's say I'm using this particular modulation technique BPSK, and how many bits of information is transmitted? So this is one question in an interview panel. And so what are the different types of channels in which the signal is transmitted? So this is another question. And these are kind of general questions that they ask. And after that they are going to ask you questions like, what is the project that you did? What is the effort that you made? A project? Yeah. And another thing, project is not something that you have to kind of create something new. Project is something that you can work on something, and you can make minute changes in it, and you can bring out that effort is what really matters in what project you're doing. So yeah, they'll ask you a lot of questions on project. By the way you answer, it's gonna be like they are gonna definitely know whether you did the project or not. To give a few more examples about the questions, yeah, so there is, so yeah, this is very simple, understandable question. So, like we do it on a daily basis. Let's say, does anybody of you know like what is really happening when you hit the call button in a mobile phone? So that is one of the questions that Qualcomm really fantasizes in asking any uh, engineer that they kind of interview. So it really depends on what role that you're going and what type of resume you have. So these two things are the important factors that you should look into when you are trying to enter into an industry. So did I kind of circle around same points, or like was I? Do you want me to?
Oh, thank you, sir. I would like to thank the speakers for answering the queries. Now we have short video about the
Mhm.
achievements of our EC department. Please stay connected.
Okay.
is Julian Patrick. I have done my bachelor's degree in St. Joseph Institute of Technology, Chennai, in electronics and communication engineering. There are many opportunities have been given and encouraged by our professors. Many talented professors are there. They guided me, and then I have become a successful outcome from our university. Now I'm currently doing my master's in electrical and electronics engineering in Gannon University, Pennsylvania.
Hi, this is Vidya, an alumni of St. Joseph Institute of Technology from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, and I'm currently doing my master's here at San Diego State University with a major in VLSI design. So I want to thank St. Joseph's for actually playing a very significant role in what I'm doing right now, for making me pick VLSI design. And it's the faculty, it's their training and the laboratories and the materials that they provided me with, and also the tools that you get to work with, in your laboratories and everything, are the industry related tools and what you actually work in industries. And I learned all of that only after coming here.
My name is Kristen, an alumni of St. Joseph Institute of Technology, batch 2018 from the Department of ECE. The college has taught me a lot. The most discerning thing about this college is the dedication shown by the professors as well as the management.
On that note, I would like to conclude the session with vote of thanks. On behalf of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, I would once again like to thank Ms. Charitra ma'am and Mr. Niroman Joe sir for taking out time from your busy schedule and providing us with your highly informative insights. Thank you, speakers. My heartfelt thanks to our beloved chairman, Dr. B. Babu Manoharan sir, Managing Director, Mrs. S. Jesipriya ma'am, Director Mr. B. Sashishekar sir, and our beloved Principal Dr. P. Ravichandran sir for their support in conducting this program. I would also like to thank Head of the Department Dr. C. Jnanakausalya ma'am, Staff and Student Affairs, and Dr. G. Rohini ma'am, Lab Affairs, for their words of encouragement and guidance. I would also like to take this time to sincerely thank our department staffs for arranging this webinar successfully. And last but not the least, my sincere thanks to all the participants for your active participation and support. We truly hope that you took away something of value through this. Thank you all. Kindly fill the feedback form.
Hello. Hello. Savitra?
Hi, ma'am.
Savitra and Niroman. Thank you, Pa.
Hi,
Hello,
ma'am. Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello.
Thank
Thank you, Pa. Actually, நான் காலேஜ்ல இருக்கேன். I'm in the
Okay,
college.
okay.
I'm sorry.